So Jen, your memoir, Awake, it's such a page turner. It sucks you in, no doubt. Welcome to Game Changers. It's so fun to have you on. It's so fun to connect.
Okay, thank you. And thank you for both those things you just said so much. I'm so happy to be here. I'm happy to meet you.
I'm excited. So, you're married for 26 years. It's the middle of the night, 5 kids upstairs, and you hear your husband whispering on the phone to another woman. I mean, talk about a nightmare, right? Literally. So I kind of wanted to start
Literally
there because in part, it would have been kind of easy, Jen, right, to maybe not write about it. And so I'm just curious, what pulled you to do that and why, kind of why now?
Yes. We start in the ER when this book went ahead and just went for the jugular on the first sentence. Like, let's not bury the lead. Let's just get into it.
For sure.
Yeah, it's certainly, it's funny for me to think about it now. Obviously 5 years ago when this happened in 2020, writing about it was
no chance.
That was so far away from my consciousness. I cannot even have fathomed.
Right.
Back then, my biggest task was getting through every day. That was my task. Can I get to the end of this day? Can I make it? So, no, it never even dawned on me that I would ever be at a point or even want to be at a point in which I had alchemized this story enough that A, I would want to write about it, or B, I could do it in a way that would protect my in integrity. Like, had I written this 3 years ago, it'd been a very different book. It'd been so mean.
A little bit more wide open.
So mean. Oh my God. But here's the thing. Like, I've been out in front of my community now for almost 20 years. As whatever it is that I am, a writer, a leader of sorts.
Sure.
And that's just, I've always led with that front foot. Always. I've never, ever, I don't have, my real life is very much a part of my public life. Those aren't, I don't have those in separate chambers.
Sure.
And not to say that, that's one approach to being a public person, and I respect it. For me, that's just not the way I built it. And that's not the way that I am. I'm not a compartmentalized person. I cannot, I'm not out here with such a narrow, myopic leadership, like
box around
track that everything else can just like be behind the curtain. So, I got divorced in front of my entire watching community. Had I come out with my next one, I hadn't written a trade book. I hadn't written one since 2018. So had I come out and been like, hey, let's talk about this over here, it'd have been so absurd.
Right.
I literally got divorced since the last time I wrote for my community, who knows my family, who knew my marriage, like close friends, because it's something that I have shared. And so I knew that there was a place for me to write this in a way that my integrity and compassion could stay intact, but this story could still serve my community. And I think that's where we're at.
And so at some level you were there. Physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, relationally, you were sort of at a place where you thought, I can do this in a way that's courageous, that connects, and that is graceful. And you found yourself there. And it's incredible.
Yes.
And you know what struck me, Jen?
Let's see if I have it. Oh, don't. Oh, I might. I put a little, just a little note card by my laptop right up here the whole time I was writing this book. And it said, will I be proud of this in 5 years?
Nice.
And I used that as my filter for the entire book. First of all, the whole book. Will I even be proud of the book? Period. And then I let it get smaller. Will I be proud of this particular chapter? Will I be proud of this paragraph? In some cases, will I be proud of this word? And I took singular words out that I thought 5 years from now, I will wish I had not put that in there.
Wow.
And I think that kept me in alignment in telling a story that it's so strange. On one hand, it's absolutely particular to me. It's my memoir. It's my life, my story, my family. But on the other hand, there is so much of it that is just ubiquitous. Like there are 10 layers in there that almost every woman I know can connect with at least 3 of them.
Yep.
So I felt like this is mine, but it's also ours.
Right, because it goes beyond loss and divorce. It goes into change and grief and And you know what struck me, Jen, is that you start with the end and you unpack it all from there, right? The end, the middle, and the beginning. Is that sort of how it helped you make sense of your own story?
Sort of. I wrote Awake, as you know, in a non-linear way.
Right.
And it's not written in chapters. It's written in memories. It's written in scenes, in little tiny moments throughout the course of my life. So while that July 11th line in the sand, first page, end of marriage, shock moment happens, and then I roll out about the next 2 years in a linear fashion in terms of the recovery and rebuilding process. But everything around that is all back and forth in the timeline.
Right.
Going way back to childhood, back 5 years ago, back 10 years ago, all which way.
Yeah.
I knew that I have smart readers, and I would be able to say, hey, let's take a look at all the bricks that built this house. I'm going to show it to you in scenes. And I know that you will be smart enough to find the connective threads from 6th grade to 2020 and see how those built together and threaded a story together. And then I just knew that my readers would take what they needed. Like the parts that didn't apply to them or they couldn't relate to, or great, you can read my story and just leave it where it's at. The parts that do, I knew that they would be able to go, oh, wow, this is a mirror. I'm going to hold it up to myself and decide what to do with it in my own life.
Well, because it's not prescriptive in nature like you're accustomed to at some level, right? So that was a little bit of a different approach for you too. How was that?
For sure. I've always written in a way that, to use that term, was much more prescriptive. Like I would take a kind of a thematic idea, of course, for any given book and say, all right, I'm going to work this down to its nub. Yep. I will write this long form, stretched out commentary on this idea, on this thing, on this topic. And then I will just hand it to you as a reader, fully baked. And you don't have to do any work. Here, I've done it for us. This is what we think of this. I've done the thinking. Just plug this into your outlet, right? And so I've written like that for a lot of years. And then, this is the literal exact opposite. It's not prescriptive at all. It's only descriptive. I only am describing moments.
Sure. Yeah.
And so that was a real departure for me in format, in tone, in approach, in structure. I mean, I can tell you, let me look at the date. Okay. The book has been out 1 month today.
Right.
And it's been a fascinating experience for me to be the author on the other side of this type of book. 'Cause it's not my first book, but it's my first type of book like this.
Yeah.
And it's been astonishing to start to hear and understand what the readers are doing with it. And it's outside my purview. It's outside my control. It was outside of me going, here is what I want you to think about this. You know, because it's not a how-to. It's not like how to get divorced well.
Right.
I mean, it's none of that.
How to parent well
so
inside of...
it's none of it. It's
You're
how
right.
to do nothing.
Right.
And so to hear the readers come back now and go, this is what I read this sentence, and then I put the book down and called my sister. I read this entry. I took a picture of it. I sent it to my therapist, and this is what we're going to talk about in our next session. Fascinating. And not even obvious to me. Like, I had parts that I wrote and thought, these are going to be resonant. I have a feeling this section, this entry is going to be something we talk about a lot. And in some cases, that's true. But in other cases, people have lifted the smallest little paragraph off the page as something they needed. And it's just amazing. It's amazing to bear witness to right now.
Well, and and it's cool because it's not always what you thought it would be, which is super cool.
Right.
Jen, I want to check my autofocus real quick. Let me just hit autofocus because I think, one sec, I think it's on, but I just want to okay. I get in so much trouble when I don't, you know what I mean? My production guy isn't here, so, are you there, Jen?
Do you mean for your video? It is, yeah. Can you see me? Do you mean for your video?
Yes,
it's glitching,
totally.
for sure.
Yes.
Do you want me to go out and come back in?
Well, what I have found with Riverside is that it is glitchy, but it's okay on the final product. Is what have you used Riverside before? That's what I find, but I don't know. Is that a good call to go out and come back in? I think
That's
you're actually clear.
But do you use?
I have a whole
the video?
A little bit of snips for social. Yeah, we do. And my team gets,
Okay. It'll probably be fine for that then, because the audio usually comes through clean, even when the video is pixelating. Riverside can be really...
It's wonky, right?
That's what we use on our podcast too.
Yeah. But like it feels like when the final one comes through, it's clear, and the videos, I don't know. But am I clear to you in general?
I know, it's weird.
Okay. Well, then I think...
No, you're pixelated.
Okay. Fuck. Shit. I think... Oops, I shouldn't swear like that, should I?
Yeah, I know.
Let me check my autofocus.
No, I have the worst mouth.
I know. I just don't want to... It's saying... Yeah, autofocus.
No, I can't. Sorry.
Yeah, I think we're good. I don't want to... Yeah, you're so cute. I think we're good. I don't want to waste any time, and I think we're
okay.
I think we'll be rolling. All right, girl. We'll and you look great, which is what matters. Let's be honest, right?
Okay.
Yeah, you're like, yeah.
I think you'll probably have what you need for clips for sure.
Totally. So, Jen, I've written 6 books, and I know what it's like to sort of take it all and put it on paper. And then it's a whole nother thing, as you're unpacking a bit, to get out into the world and talk about it and to see what people are connecting with. And so I'm curious, this is so deeply personal as you put it down on paper and push it out into the world. And then you currently, right, you're in front of so many people talking about it. What's come up for you that's been different than from the writing process, but from more of the verbal connection process that maybe has surprised you a little bit, or that you've learned from, or that was a bit unexpected?
I've been traveling with this book now for 5 or 6 weeks. Mm-hmm. Which, again, to your point, completely different from writing in your little cave,
right,
with your dirty hair and like you're all by yourself, and that the creation process is so different from the release process.
Yes.
And so I think what I'm experiencing the most right now that is opposite energy, writing a story like this that is so painful to revisit and also humiliating. One thing I hope readers will notice too is that it's not just this tropey villain victim story, which I love. I love that story. I love black, white, good, bad. That I reached for that for a while.
Sure. Yeah.
But again, I didn't write it 3 years ago, thank God. And so, I think I also included a lot of personal failures, and like, this is my contribution to it. And this is my complicity in some of the breakdown. And so, I mean, it's a self-own in a lot of ways. And there's a lot of just humiliating parts to it. And so, I think the primary difference is writing all that, putting on a page, it is a question mark.
Right.
How are people going to feel about this?
Right.
How are they going to think about this admission? What are they going to think when I included this detail? What are they going to think of my leadership, my discernment? Am I torpedoing my credibility? Like, there was just all these questions to lay that much honesty on the page, to like display the most brokenhearted part of my story and just not know how is this going to go. So now I'm on the other side of that exchange where it's in the hands of the people. And now I know
it's out.
And it's out. Like, this is no longer a question mark. And I think the most incredible thing that I have experienced in this last month is the warmest, dearest, truest connection with the women who are reading this.
Wow.
Because it's a bit like, it's a bit like holding up a magnet. Like, I've held up my magnet of like suffering and recovery, and it attracts like-minded. Here they all come. Like, everybody else's like stories of grief and pain and recovery, of second chances, of beginning again, of like midlife reinvention. And so the human connection at this point has been the greatest reward. And frankly, at this point, my story is almost like the background soundtrack to what's happening. Now it's like ours. It's like it's become something new out in the world, and I'm just one little part of that. It's been so nourishing and so nurturing to be in live rooms with these people. I'll never forget it.
I think you're hearing these stories, and I think we both know, we're similar ages. I mean, I think we both know women who feel stuck, and they feel the tension, but so often they don't feel like they have an option, which always breaks my heart. And so I'm curious, Jen, as you look back, as you have these conversations, do you think sometimes we don't see what we're not ready to unpack?
Yes. Yes. And I understand the delay. I actually have a lot of compassion for that. That was my story as well. I, given enough distance and time and therapy, I was able to look backward and go, I can see and admit now that, let me see, I lost my marriage in July of 2020. 4 years before then, I had something coming up for me. 3 years, for sure.
Wow.
2 years, I'm like, we've got a problem.
Wow.
There is something wrong. Like, all my internal alarm bells were going off, all the red flags, all the alarm bells. And my body, my instincts were just being like, we are in trouble. This is not normal. This is not good. Every warning sign that exists is in your current life.
Wow.
And even then, I just went, I don't want to face that. I don't want that to be true. I don't want that to be our story. I don't want that to be our thing. And so I will just close my eyes to it and hope that somehow it rectifies itself behind my back without my intervention. That something is just going to sort of miraculously put itself back together from these pieces that are clearly broken.
Wow.
Had anybody else come to me and said, Jen, let me tell you what's going on in my life. These are some observations I'm making. This, and this. I'd have been like, oh, girl.
Yeah.
Oh, honey,
you gotta go.
You
gotta
are in
make
trouble. Like
Wow.
this, I
Right.
know exactly what's happening.
Right.
But when it's your own story,
Right.
sometimes because we are so afraid of the disruption, the loss, what is obviously going to happen if this thing is true, is so scary, and that we just decide to not face it at all. But here's the thing. Whatever is true is still true, whether we look at it or not. Whatever is happening is happening, whether we face it or not.
Sure.
Reality is reality, whether we are a willing participant or we are pretending we can't see it. So either we rise up to meet the truth, or it will rise up to meet us eventually. And that's what happened in my life.
Well, and I think, right, and when you park a problem over in a petri dish on the side and just don't deal with it, it gets often worse, right? And, I think...
Totally.
Right. I mean, it just grows and just flourishes over there all by itself, right? Without any touching. I'm envisioning the 19-year-old Jen who is a bride to be, marrying a pastor, dropping right into the pastor wife role. What would you tell the 19-year-old Jen that really thought, hey, I am painting this little picture that is going to be perfect, and it's going to be a smooth sailing runway with this with this incredible pastor that I'm stepping. I mean, and this life that felt so clear to you at 19, but clearly it wasn't clear.
I have so much compassion for her. I think when I was once upon a time, I looked back on that version of me almost with anger. Like, why are you so foolish? Like, where was your wisdom? Like, why couldn't you make a better choice? Why couldn't you choose a healthy, normal, young adulthood instead of marriage as a literal teenager? Like, why didn't that seem important to you? Why didn't you give yourself a chance to like grow up and expand your worldview and figure out even who you were or what your deal was in this world? I think I used to berate that young version of me for making choices that got me all the way to this moment in my story, but that's not how I feel at all anymore. Now I think back on her with just such like compassion, like a mother would. I can think of myself in those terms now.
Right.
And the truth is that almost every one of us at any given point in our story, most of us were doing the absolute best we could with what we knew.
Yeah.
And when I think about what 19-year-old Jen knew, what had been handed to her, the narratives that I had been raised in already, this stuff that was sort of baked into the sauce for me at that point in my life, I was doing the best I knew how. I thought I was making the right choices, the good choices, the faithful choices, the obedient choices. And I really wanted to do right by this life. I did. I wanted to build something that was meaningful and mattered and useful. And so my hope for the women that I lead always is that we find generosity for all the iterations of who we have always been.
Sure. That's a neat way to say that we find that grace for that. And I think as a mother, I would imagine too, though, you think, what do you wish that Jen, not that you would change your story, because your story is your story and but what could that Jen have paid attention to or seen that she maybe didn't recognize, to your point, to our conversation a minute ago, right? That sometimes we don't see what we don't really want to see.
It's tricky to go back and try to want her to know things she didn't know.
Right.
Want her to understand things she had no exposure to. Want her to have language for ideas that no one had ever spoken to her one time in her whole life. I want that for her. But what if I go back and think with what she knew, with what she had been taught and told, with the environments in which I had grown up in, what could I have done differently with that set of information? And I do have an answer for that, because I can think back to that version of me, that version of me dating that person, pre-marriage, college freshman. If you can think about that as a baby, that is someone who went to prom last year, right? Like, that is such a young person. But even that young girl, there were so many red flags inside our dating experience that turned out to be real and turned out to be true. And what I was willing to accept, the kind of behaviors that I was willing to accept as an 18-year-old moony, swoony girlfriend. Now, if that were my daughters, I would be like, that's a deal breaker, honey. Like, that is not indicative of a healthy soul. That is not a healthy relationship. That is not what trust and honesty and wholeness looks like in a relationship like this. I knew that then.
Wow.
And so do people around me. I had plenty of people going,
wow.
Hey.
Watch out, girl.
There's a couple of things here. Do you see this? Are you noticing this? We're worried about this. We're anxious about this. But tell an 18-year-old in love something. Do your best, right? Like, try your hardest to tell her something. And so I think all that to say for anybody listening, so whether you're 18 or 28 or 38 or 48 or 58, when your body is telling you something, when it is saying, this doesn't feel great, this doesn't feel right, this makes me feel small, this makes me feel ashamed, this is making me feel less than or controlled, fill in the blank, whatever your thing is, whatever your internal signal is, why don't you just go ahead and believe yourself? That your body's telling you something true, because your instinct's only agenda is to keep you safe and protected and healthy. That's it. It doesn't, it's not gaslighting you. You're not gaslighting yourself. Like, go ahead and believe whatever it is that you are receiving, and have the courage to face that with honesty and say, I am not going to prioritize someone else's comfort, someone else's preferences, someone else's desires over my own. I'm going to go ahead and honor what it is that I feel like I know about this situation or about this relationship or whatever it is. And believe yourself. Believe yourself. You are believable. You're a trustworthy, reliable narrator in your own story. Right.
That's a cool way to say it. And you write, and I've taken my jacket card. I love, you write, oh no, I might be codependent. How did you unpack that from the sense of what was yours to carry and what wasn't?
Oh boy. Listen, if anybody wants to stare down the path of learning about and recovering, from codependency, I just want to say, look, we warned you. Okay, this is no joke. I I did not know what codependency even meant. A mentor told me. It was Brene Brown. She said,
wow.
you need to get the book Codependent No More, by, Melody Betty,
Okay.
and treat it as your Bible. And I was like, codependency? Like, what even is that? I thought that sounded, I didn't know what it meant. I thought that was like needy, like a neediness.
Right. Well, you're an Enneagram 3. We both are. So you're like, dude, what? Yeah.
Totally. I'm like, I'm steering my own ship, man. I'm like, I'm spinning 1,000 planets a day. Like, I'm not needy. I'm not waiting around for somebody to tell me what to do or what to think.
Right.
But that's not what it means at all. Codependency, like, this is a terrible reduction. But at its core, what it means is that you have deeply allowed someone else's behaviors, choices, actions, words deeply affect you. Deeply. And you are trying to control that behavior, choices, words, actions. You're trying to control them to get them to either do more or do less, whatever the thing is.
Yeah.
Not only them, you're also trying to control everybody else's reaction to that person's behavior. You're trying to bend the environment around the story you prefer over the one that you actually have. Well, shit, turns out I had been doing that my entire marriage, starting from the dating years. I have been trying to control my husband's difficult behavior for 26 years. Telling him all the time what to do, what to say, what not to say, how to act, how inappropriate his aggressive behavior was, how he was making people feel. By the way, great formula for a good marriage. Tell your spouse how to behave and what they're doing wrong. They love that.
Yeah, right.
They love that.
Right.
It's really helpful.
I've been married 25 years, girl, and I know that doesn't work.
Yeah. It does not work. And then when they don't obey you, because they're a human person in charge of themselves.
Right.
They are a human person in charge of their own choices, their own decisions. And so they don't mind your control like you expect them to. So then I would go on the other side of the thing and try to fix it with whoever he had bulldozed. Like our kids, anybody, our friends, really everybody who's ever known him. People that worked for him and with him. And so when I recognized that behavior, I was stunned, because not only is codependency not useful, it's not productive, it doesn't work. It's actually a net negative. It makes everything worse. It's not neutral. It makes everything worse. Wow. And so I started paying attention to that in the aftermath of my marriage, both in the postmortem and also trying to sort out what's my complicity here. What do I need to own? Because I either address it or I'm going to walk it right into the next relationship.
Right. Right.
But then I noticed, as soon as I learned to recognize it, I went, oh my God, I do this with my kids. I do this with my best friends. I've done this with my siblings and parents. I have a control issue. And I see it now, like the way in which I have been trying to control the people around my life. And so that's been a major reversal these last 5 years.
Yeah.
And probably will be the rest of my life. I think I'll battle this behavior for all my years.
What's the thing that in your mind, what's the mindset shift at some level that's happening to allow you to recognize the behavior and go, oop, there it goes. I got to make a shift. I got to show up differently. What is that thing that helps you see the moments and the tendency to do that?
Yeah, it's so, at first it's so foreign to recognize that behavior because it was instinctual. But now I am learning to grab it by its ankle, like the very second it exerts itself, which is essentially in any given moment or conversation, the quick question that just does a quick right through the frontal lobe. That's what I'm help me decide how to respond is, like is this my responsibility? That's really it. That's my metric. Is this my responsibility?
Wow, that's a good way to think about
Because
it.
some things are. Some things are.
Yep.
Some things
That's
are
a
under
great-
my purview or under my influence or
Right,
but
right.
is this my responsibility? Even somebody's like shitty behavior.
Right.
Is that my responsibility?
Right, right.
And so that adjusts the way that I respond.
Yeah, that's cool. That's
Which
cool.
is not to say that we don't ever have hard conversations or boundaries or any of that. Like, it's not, codependency is tricky because if you don't do enough work on it, you think that what is being asked of us is just to let people run amok
Right.
with no intervention, right?
Right.
With no consequences, with no, and that's not really true at all because when people
Right.
run amok, they will have consequences. It's just up
Right.
to us to tolerate those consequences for them and anybody else around them. Without trying to mitigate the circumstances. And so it's not as if that is a consequenceless endeavor. And it's not to say we don't ever have conversations where we say, hey, this thing that you're doing is hurting me. Or this is how this is making me feel. Or
Sure.
in, most
Yep.
cases, because it's just about boundaries, I am not going to tolerate this behavior. You can still do it.
Right.
You can choose to do it. I won't be here while you do.
Right. Right.
This is not
right.
going to be okay for me anymore. I'm no longer allowing it. That's
Right.
completely different.
Yep.
Than
I can
saying,
imagine you
this
found.
is how I want you to behave.
Yep. Yep. And I can imagine, Jen, I'm sorry to jump in, that you have captured a whole bottle full of energy that you didn't have access to before because of that shift that you've made. I mean, I can imagine that's just bottles and bottles full of just full on energy that you've found in light of this.
Crazy.
That's cool.
One thing I've noticed, like particularly with my codependency with my kids, and my kids at this point are 19 to 27, so I have young adults.
Yep.
Is that managing my codependency with them has done wonders for how much time and energy I was spending on worry. Like just worry. How can I solve this? How can I move the pieces around to get this better? What can I do to intervene here in a way? Like,
Yep.
again, is this my responsibility? It's not.
Yep.
It's not.
Yeah.
And so they're grown and they're going to do what they're going to do. And so unhooking myself from being such a corner piece of the puzzle, which is how I saw myself, as absolutely like irreplaceable in the metric, in the solution, even in the process to get to the solution.
Yeah.
I'm just like, I'm learning little phrases like, I'll be really excited to see what you do with that. Or like,
Sure.
tell me what your next step's going to be. Or like, this is going to be a really interesting process for you. And that is completely new energy for me.
Yes.
And then also, of course, lest that sound just like cold and no compassion at all, I've also learned when my grown kids come to me with something to go, all right, do you want advice or do you just want me to listen?
Right. Sure.
And I'll let them choose.
Yeah.
I'll let them choose if they want me to insert myself in any way. And half the time they go, I think I just want to vent. I'm like, great, let's go.
Yeah,
let's hear it. Let's hear all your grievances.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. I think that is such an awesome clarifying question to ask. My husband and I have 3 grown young adult children too. And yeah, totally. I mean, it's such a great question to ask because I think both of us as Enneagram 3s, we're like, oh, all right, well, cool. Well, here's what I think we should do. Right. And they're like, dude, I don't want you, right? I don't want you to tell me what to do. I just want to tell you what the challenge is or the problem I'm navigating. So those are cool. Those are cool. So, unpacking Awake and your work, I'm curious, what do you think? I mean, because in so many ways, right, women in our stage of life at some level are often there's endings, right? Maybe there's women listening that are navigating divorce or a career transition, or I mean, absolutely anything. Lots of change at some, is happening certainly around all of us. But what do you think that we get wrong about starting over? Because there's so much opportunity in that. Certainly, I think you're really happy with where you are in your life now. It's hard, though, in the moment to see that. But what do we get wrong about starting over? Because there's gifts in it, certainly.
Oh boy, are there really? Are there ever? I think there's a temptation to settle for a version of our lives that are broken or like direly incomplete, or even just a section of it has run its course, or it's changing naturally. Like I see a lot of women right now freaking out because their kids are growing up and moving out.
Yeah, sure.
And if you've not been prepared for that, it feels so disruptive. Like there's a lot of reasons that change finds us. Some of it's absolutely normal, predictable, reasonable. Some of it we don't choose, it chose us, but here we are nonetheless. Some of it needs to be chosen by us, but we're too afraid to face it because of starting over, to your point. And so we would rather, how does that saying go? We'd rather have the enemy we know, than the one
Sure.
we don't. I think I
Yeah.
got that completely wrong. But but the truth is that new beginnings, when they are born out of places, spaces, and relationships that have ended, can, at first it feels like scorched earth. It does. And I don't want to diminish the disruptive nature of it and how catastrophic it can feel and how everything feels burned to ashes. But it's kind of like that thing where you have a controlled burn to create room for healthy new growth. And all of a sudden those green shoots start coming up through that charred ground. And you're like, what? How? How in the world is that happening? And that is actually so true, so common, and most often the story that now I'm at this crazy place 5 years after the implosion of the life I knew, that when someone comes to me in the first stage of it going, I am sitting in the seat of so much loss. Wasn't ready for this. I wasn't prepared. I don't know if I'll ever be happy again. I'm so am in despair. I have to hold myself back from being like, I am so excited for you. I am so looking forward to what this is going to produce in your life. You don't even know. You don't even know what is ahead of you. You don't even know what you are capable of. You don't know what new growth can look like out of the ashes of these other spaces that are over. And how could we? How could we? But I think that the women are so incredibly capable and resilient, and possibility is so within reach that now I actually look at people at the beginning stages of that loss and go, my God, your best days are in front of you and you have no idea.
What is that? I mean, I think mindset is so critical, and I'm curious because so much is inside of us. It's just getting access to that to shift our physical, mental, our state. What were the things maybe that you told yourself or that someone told you or did that helped you the most? And I'm thinking about the people that are listening that are, either want to help someone inside of this. What were those things?
I think the first thing to say to answer that question is that none of this is fast. There is no quick formula. There's no like 3 easy steps to. There's no like, here's how to get through this the fastest. Here's what will deliver you to the better version of yourself the soonest.
Give me a formula, Jen, right? Like that's
real.
what these Enneagram.
I know.
Right. No, I understand. Totally.
I love formulas. I'm a 3.
Yeah.
Like
right. Right. Yeah,
I
totally.
like solutions.
Right. But you're
Like,
saying it's a
how
little
do we get
zigzaggy.
back to it is, and there's no sidestepping it. There's not a side door. There's not a back door. There's only a through. And so one of the biggest things I learned in counseling and with some of my I put every kind of healer in my path. Body, meditation, talk therapy. For me, for a season, that included medication. Whatever. I reached for every tool that existed.
Sure.
I was so just shattered. And so I don't love this answer, but the truth is, one of the earliest things I learned that I'll forever be grateful for, because I think it created the runway for me to eventually get to healing, was, this is so lowbrow. This is such low hanging fruit, not revolutionary, but you have to be able to sit in your pain without hustling it along, without denying it, without talking yourself out of it, without shaming yourself for how long it's taking. And that's all those things that I just said were my preferred responses to pain. Like, let's just bootstrap this thing,
Yeah. Let's go.
I'm strong enough to just like pull myself up and over this. This is not going to take me out. This is not going to take me down. Well, the truth is some things do take us out and they do take us down. And so learning to tolerate pain in my own body was absolutely brand new information for me.
Wow.
What to do with it, how to let it exist, how to be gentle and soft with it, I learned how to let my body like go really soft and relaxed and let that thing roll through whatever it was, whatever memory or fear was just having a spike. Like, I'm going to like open my hands, like literally, and just let it come. And then I learned that it will also go. And it's the resistance to it that makes it take longer. The longer I resist my pain, the longer I will experience it.
Wow.
And so learning how to become bedfellows with my personal suffering, like letting it exist right alongside me, not saying, I'm sick of you. I'm tired of feeling sad. I'm tired of being a bummer. I want to be back to the happy part of my story. But saying to my grief, as long as you need, we're going to take it.
Wow.
And when you come up, I'm not going to shame you for being here. I'm not going to tell you do better. You know that's not, I'm just going to let you be here. It was this embodied experience. I had to get out of my mind. I do most of my work in my mind.
Right. Sure.
And so getting out of my mind and into my body and teaching myself how to grieve physically, emotionally, without shame. I think that sped up my healing process.
Wow.
And it took a lot of the fear away from me.
So I'm almost hearing you say, be gentle on yourself, have grace in service of it, allowing to show up, be there. And, I was a student athlete. So for me, it's sort of like, okay, dude, but you got a match the next day, right? Like you lost that when you were supposed to win it, or whatever it might be in life. I mean, how do you also though navigate, or the person that's listening going, yeah, but I've got kids and a job and like, I can't stay curled up in a bed for a month or a week, but they've got to at some level strap it on and go too, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And I did too. I had kids and a job. And
right.
I was running a life by myself. That was a
Right.
huge life. But here's what I learned. Those aren't binary. Like letting your grief live in your body, being gentle with it and gracious with yourself is not, for me, a 24-hour day endeavor. In fact, when I learned, when my therapist taught me like how to breathe through like a grief spike, like a grief spiral, which for me was really formulaic, frankly. I would stop what I was doing, and if I would go outside if I could, like be in the sun, be in the grass, be in the air. And I would kind of do this quick body scan of like, just relax everywhere that you're like, everything was tight. My jaw, my forehead, my ears, my shoulder. I'd be like this. Like I'd do this quick thing and get all the way, like so that I could not feel an ounce of tension in my body left. And then I would do this breathing exercise. This is so boring, but breathing will work us through a panic.
Amen. Yes,
it will work us through. And I would do the 8 seconds in, hold for 4, 8 seconds out, hold for 4. And I would just do that. I'm not joking, for sometimes as little as 5 minutes. And my breathing would calm down. My body would relax. My central nervous system would regulate. Whatever had spiked me out would just kind of roll on through and roll on out. And I was able to return to whatever I was doing in a regulated state. So it isn't a matter of either I get to lay in bed all day long and grieve, or I have to live my life. That's not our choices.
Right.
There is a way to live your life and still be quite gentle with your grief and recovery.
I love that. Thank you for that. And breathing is it a powerful way to bring ourselves back to being able to be, it's incredible. I mean, it really is. Jen, I could do this for hours, right? Like Jamie Kern Lima did with you, but I'm going to finish with some rapid fire. So I'm going to hit you up here real quick with a couple quick ones. And I know you got all kinds of other exciting things to do. So what is your favorite book, Jen?
Oh, okay. Well, that's so hard. But if I have to pick my favorite book of all time, the one I have reread a zillion times, it's probably David Sedaris's Me Talk Pretty One Day. It's the funniest book I've ever read.
What's it called again? I'm sorry.
If you like satire. So it's David Sedaris. I don't know if you know him.
Yes, I know his name.
The world's greatest satire writer. And this is one of his books. It's called Me Talk Pretty One Day. Love it. It's a
hilarious
masterpiece. It is a masterpiece in satirical writing. Like, he has no equal.
Wow. A piece of advice that has helped you the most.
Maybe like about 10 years ago, I was spending time with a woman. She has passed since. At the time, she was 82. And she had just lived her life in such an unconventional way. Like, every bit of her story was unconventional. And I asked her that question. I'm like, what can you tell me? What's the best thing you can tell me about living? And she was just like, no matter what scenario you're in, no matter what environment you're in, who you're talking to, what you're doing, how old you are, no matter what. She said, Jen, literally just be you. Always just be you. It was so basic and simple in its premise, but actually hard in execution.
Sure.
Especially for an Enneagram 3. We know how to walk into any given room and give it what it wants. You know? We know how to do that.
Sure
I know how to take the temperature of the room and make sure everybody else is comfortable. So her telling me, be you in every room you're in at all times has been like a real North Star for me.
That's awesome. What's a habit that has changed your life?
I, just a few years ago, told everybody that works for me and with me that we are done working on Fridays at noon, period. I know this seems small, but rolling back the start of our weekend to 12 o'clock on Friday has changed my life. Like, it has changed me. Like, it has changed the way I consider rest, work, play, connection, boundaries. Like, it had a real rollout effect on a lot of things. I'm like, oh my God, I could just do that. I can just decide that and then
Right.
decide it
Right.
and then build my life like that. It was like, oh my gosh, who made these rules for us in the first place? So anyway, work ends at noon on Friday for everybody who is in my ecosystem, and we all love it.
That is awesome. And it's not like summer hour vibes, right? I mean,
Yeah.
this is all year round. So you've made Me Camp sort of a tradition. Where have you been? Where's next? What's next? Where's next? All that.
Yeah. The short version for anybody listening is I accidentally traveled by myself for a month. July of 2021 after my divorce. It was actually to be near a kid who was struggling.
Okay.
But turns out to be the greatest thing that ever happened to me. And I called it Me Camp. And so it was so revolutionary for me. I mean, I got married when I was 19. As you know, I'd never even spent a single adult minute in my life independently.
Wow.
That I have since done it every July. So just this last summer was my 5th Me Camp. And I spent the month of July in this itty bitty town called Yachats, Oregon, right on the coast. And my little rent house overlooked the Pacific Ocean. And it was an absolute dream.
I mean, that's amazing. Are you by, and it's Me Camp, meaning, are you by yourself? Essentially in
For
this.
the most part.
Wow.
It's solo travel.
Wow, girl.
I learned that I am good company. I can do things by myself. I can travel alone. I can meet people where I'm at. Like, I'm capable of that. And not only am I capable of it, I love it.
Yeah. You're kind of cool with yourself.
My little metric is I'm cool with myself.
Yeah,
and
totally.
I just cherish my independence, having been married for 26 years. And, so it's the greatest thing I've ever done. And when women tell me they do their own version of Me Camp, it's like my greatest happiness.
I love it. That is awesome. Okay, so who or what is a game changer who inspires you and why?
God, that list is so long for me. That is so long for me.
I mean, you're
One
not really
person
a
I've been
rule
thinking
follower.
about
You can break
recently.
it and hit me with a couple.
One person that I've been thinking about lately, because he intersected my life at some just really fragile moments, is actually Bishop Curry. Bishop Curry was, excuse me, the presiding Episcopalian bishop over the United States. Recently, he was actually the bishop who performed Harry and Meghan's wedding.
Wow.
And I've had him on my show 2 or 3 times. And every time he is on the show, I am so moved by that dude. He is so expansive. His heart is so generous. His love for the world is so pure. His metric is so sturdy.
Okay.
And, every time he tells me, like, he's like, Jen, anytime you're trying to sort out anything, any decision, any choice, any path in front of you, any response, he's like, if it does not uplink to love, then you need to scrap it. And I'm like, God, that is so instructive. Like,
Sure.
that clears away so much gray for me.
Yeah.
And so much fog. Anyway,
Yeah.
Bishop Curry is one of the greatest spiritual heroes we have among us right now, and we are lucky to share planet space with him.
I love that lens. Love. It's awesome. Jen Hatmaker and Awake.
Let it be your guide.
Amen. I love it. And Jen, this book is fantastic. It is changing people's lives, I know already. Thank you for putting it out into the world. Thank you for talking about it. And thanks for joining me today. Super fun.